Hey, we've got a problem here. What did you do?
Nothing. I stirred the tanks.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a...
Hello and welcome. I'm Dom and this is MegaTrip, the travel channel that inspires you to adventure. And today you have joined me in Rio de Janeiro and it has all gone a little bit wrong. Today is my last day in Rio and I had planned a great video for you to see the big three here in Rio. Sugarloaf Mountain, Christ the Redeemer and Copacabana Beach. The weather forecast was for beautiful, clear, sunny skies, but as you can see, that is not what we have got today here in Rio. But not to worry, I have a plan B. And let's be honest, you've seen all that stuff on TV, you've seen it on YouTube, so today we're going to do something a little bit different, a little bit unique here in Rio. We're going to check out the cultural side of Rio, down here on Guanabara Bay, as recommended to me by my amazing friend Clara, who I've met here in Rio. So, here's what's coming up on this episode of MegaTrip. This amazing structure reaching out over the plaza. I mean, this building really is stunning. Welcome to the Human of Tomorrow game. 7 questions, let's see how these goes. Obviously, I'm really into this shit, but just at the top now, and it's a little bit shaky, but I think that's my legs rather than the gondola. Cool. They don't have a lot of English, but hey, I've got bugger all Portuguese, so that is not on them, that is on me. But you know what? For my creative fix, for my artistic fix, this is doing the job really, really well. If you are out on a cultural adventure in downtown Rio de Janeiro and you find yourself in want of a refreshment, you can do a lot worse than coming to the Arco Do Teles. This place looks fab. I mean, check this view out. Couldn't get more local if you tried. Through the magic of editing, you now know more than I do what we're going to get up to today. And like I said, you join me in the cultural centre of Rio. Now this is down by Guanabara Bay in the old port. And Rio, the city here, has spent a lot of time and effort in developing this side of Rio. Everyone knows about things like Christ the Redeemer and the beaches, but actually the city has put so much time and effort into some amazing attractions, some amazing things to come and see and to do. And we're starting right here at the Museum of Tomorrow. The Science Museum down in the port of Rio de Janeiro. The building itself was put together and launched back in 2015 and really is the centre of the reurbanisation project down here. So that's where we're going to kick off on today's adventure. But for now, cue the music. The building itself was designed by Spanish neo-futuristic architect Santiago Calatrava, and it really is impressive. I'm told the view from the other side is even better, but you can see as you walk up here, this amazing structure reaching out over the plaza. We're going to go inside, take a little look around and see what there is to see. But like I said, this is a science museum, a museum of the future, and it's all about applied sciences and how they can help us deal with the challenges of the future. The entrance here is 30 Brazilian reais. I'll chuck the currency conversion up. But anyway, let's go and have a little look. I mean, this building really is stunning. Super simple process getting in, buying a little ticket at the kiosk. 30 Brazilian reais. Anyway, let's get inside. Hola. So as I was saying, it's a super simple process getting in. You buy a ticket at a little electronic kiosk. Now, everything I've read online, and in fact the advice I was given, is to buy your ticket in advance. I didn't do that today and I got away with it. There were no queues for me coming in, but it is very early on a Thursday morning. So that's the tip anyway if you come here. Buy your ticket online, you can do it, you get a little QR code, super simple. Let's have a look around this amazing building. It's actually quite hard, I think, to capture on camera the atmosphere in this place. Very vibey, very exciting. I'm a little bit lost though, but I'm gonna wander around and I think find my way in. The guy said down, left and left again. Interesting. I was hoping to get outside and get the view from the other side of the building, from the bay side. However, as is often the case in Rio, they're getting ready for a party, so that might not be an option. But you can imagine this place at night, all lit up, with this amazing structure around you on the bay. Maybe I'll try and figure out what that is. Maybe that's my last night in Rio. You may not know this, dear MegaTripper, but one of my passions in life is actually scientific skepticism. And it's really interesting. I've come across a fantastic quote here in the Science Museum about experimentation and the meaning of experimentation. And I'm just going to read it out to you. Have you ever stopped and thought about the meaning of the word experiment, or rather in the many meanings it can have? In everyday life, we can use this term as a synonym for tasting something, for example, trying some fruit. In scientific circles, the concept of experiment is part of an investigation process with the aim of testing an idea. Faced with a hypothesis, an experiment is carried out to observe whether or not what occurs corresponds to what was predicted. More recently, in philosophy, we find thinkers who associate experimentation with creativity. Artistic experiments, for example, would be a way of creating something new which was not preconceived. At a time when the Museum of Tomorrow addresses the topic of intelligence and the importance of feeling in the construction of knowledge, thus, experimental science invites us to increasingly recognize and value the plurality of points of view and experiences in the construction of knowledge. Now, a lot of that really speaks to me. It's cool to see sentiments like that. I think we have to be a little bit careful about that final statement around plurality of views. Yes, it's important to take viewpoints and knowledge from every single point of view we can find. However, it's also important they're weighted properly, and just because you have an opinion, yes, you should be heard, but it doesn't mean it should be taken seriously if you don't know what you're talking about and if you have no evidence. Super cool around here. Loving this. So if you're an English speaker like I am, you get a little card when you walk in, and every single exhibit you can just tap it on there and it will switch to your language, whatever that language is. Anyway, I've done that and I've come across this funky little game, so let's give it a go. Welcome to the Human of Tomorrow game. 7 questions, let's see how these goes. Would you go on a trip to Mars tonight? Yes. I'd go anywhere, mate. Would you still like to go? Probably not, if I'm honest. I really respect those who would do the one-way trip. Wiser? No. Access to more information, yes. Honestly, yeah. Get out of here, you weirdos. Definitely not. I'm not sure on that one. Absolutely not. I think I probably am prepared to find out what kind of human I am. Let's see the result. Basic human version 1. Think and choose the most comfortable way out. Hey, maybe that's true, but let's be honest. I don't believe in horoscopes, and that's basically what that is. But a cool little game nonetheless. A really interesting concept here. I'm sat in a little booth in the Museum of Tomorrow, and I think it's important for me to think about where science meets philosophy. And in this little booth, invites you to send notes to your past self as well as to your future self. So that's what I'm going to do right now here in the Museum of Tomorrow in Rio de Janeiro. The Museum of Tomorrow runs the whole length of this impressive building, up and down a variety of digital, physical and written exhibits. If it is cloudy and you're in Rio, I really recommend it. Not only is the building itself super cool and worth the visit just on its own, but the exhibits are well laid out, multilingual, interesting, and generally the atmosphere in here is really, really nice. It's just a relaxing, cool place to be. So what did I think of the Museum of Tomorrow? Well, I bloody loved it. This place was fantastic. What a great way to spend an hour or two if the weather's not perfect here in Rio. Obviously, I'm really into this shit, but look, it's good for anyone. There's stuff to see, to do, to touch, to feel, to experience, as well as to make you think and to read and get a bit more into the depth of it if you want to. But that's it for this stop on this overcast day adventure here in Rio. On to our next destination. Okay, Mega Tripper, so the next stop on my cultural tour of Rio de Janeiro is the Museum of Modern Art. Again, recommended to me by a local karaoke by Clara. She said you must come down, it's free. Now this is one of the preeminent modern art museums in South America, and in fact in the world. And the museum itself was built or inaugurated, if you like, or opened in 1948. So it's pretty well established, much more modern, or much more established, I should say, than things like the Tate Modern in London. Now, the bit of a checkered history of this place. So in 1979, there was a fire started either by a cigarette butt or an electrical fault, and that destroyed about 90% of the artworks that were housed here, including some world famous Picassos. But they've done a lot over the recent years to rebuild that collection. Not only have they rebuilt the collection, they are in fact in the process of renovating. So what's actually happened, dear Mega Tripper, is this. We've come to the Museum of Modern Art. Stunning 50s style building. And yeah, of course it's closed. So we're not going to be going in there. If you're wondering where it is, it's on the northeast corner of Flamengo Park, which is a big park alongside one of the main beaches by the airport in central Rio. But don't worry, Mega Tripper, I have a plan B. The weather's starting to get a little better, so we're going to go and try to do something else a little bit different on this not so bright and beautiful day here in Rio de Janeiro. Continuing with the theme of things going a little bit wrong in Rio, as we saw the Modern Art Museum was shut today, but I am told it's definitely worth a visit. So we've had to pivot to continue our journey on slightly unusual things to do if the weather's not perfect here in Rio. So I've come back down to the docks area. Again, check out the street art down here. Absolutely amazing. Very industrial, like all of Rio. It's kind of the old and knackered butting alongside the new, the exciting, the vibrant. It really is an amazing city, whatever the weather. So anyway, we've pivoted and hopefully the views will be okay, but we've come to go do this. The Rio Star, or the Yup Star. So this is the biggest Ferris wheel in all of South America, standing 88 meters tall. I'm going to go and have a little ride on this bad boy, see what it's like. The whole thing takes about 20 minutes. Hola. English? Yeah. Yeah, I need to buy a ticket. Thank you. Hola, bom dia. Por favor.
total R$ 79,90.
And now falo português.
Ah, sim. 79.
Crédito, por favor. Thank you. Obrigado. Olá.
Olá.
Obrigado. Thank you. So not super busy today, but hopefully that means I'll get my own gondola. Looking forward to this. Not something I normally do, which is, you know, the opportunity presented to you when things like the weather don't play ball. Hola, bom dia.
Espanhol ou português?
Inglês.
Inglês. Pictures? Pictures?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you.
Picture. Beautiful.
It's okay, thank you. Sorry?
Aqui.
Aqui. Obrigado. Hola, bom dia. All right, so like I was saying, when the weather's not good, you get the chance to do things you wouldn't normally do. Oh, great, here we go, we're up. Hola, bom dia. All right.
Have a nice time.
Thank you. Into the gondola we go. So I will say it is nicely air conditioned in here. So if you do come on a hot day, that is not a problem. The other thing I would say, I don't really mention a lot over this. I am terrified of heights. So I am looking forward to this, but like anything, I start to twitch a little bit when we go up in the air. I've not made videos on it. I have been up Sugarloaf Mountain. I have been up to the top of Christ the Redeemer. They were all good. And then I also did take a helicopter over Rio. Go check out the Apocalypse Rio video if you haven't already. That is absolutely amazing. And in that, you get to see some of the amazing sights that we missed today. Anyway, let's enjoy this little gondola ride above Rio, above the harbour, down here in Rio de Janeiro. What a city. All right. Exit through the gift shop. The people here, like everywhere here, have been absolutely lovely. I'm also trying to sell you something. Okay, so that was an awful lot of fun. Definitely recommended. A little on the pricey side, I guess, for a Rio de Janeiro attraction, but still a lot of fun. And if you're at a bit of a loose end and you want to get a view of the port, or even just understand the lie of the land of this bit of Rio de Janeiro, that is a great thing to do. As with a lot of things in Rio, the people, the staff are so friendly, so nice, so smiley. Okay, cool, they don't have a lot of English, but hey, I've got bugger all Portuguese, so that is not on them, that is on me. Super nice, super friendly, but they are trying to sell you something at every opportunity, if it's pictures, if it's snacks, and hey look, it's a business, there's nothing wrong with that. But do not feel pressured into anything. You just have to say no thank you, smile, shake your head. Anyway, let's carry on and see what else there is to see in this bit of Rio de Janeiro, down by the old port. To get to the next stop on our adventure, I'm taking advantage of this nice walking avenue down by the port. It's a nice pedestrianised area for you to stroll along, down by the aquarium, down by the Rio Star. And you can see it really does speak about what you can see in Rio if you get away from those main tourist hotspots. So Rio is a mixed city, there is always life going on. So of course there's a kids play area, but you can see things like this old colonial church, of course the aquarium and the Rio Star that we've just been up on. But the reason I wanted to stop here in particular was this wall of street art. And like I said, this is something you can see everywhere here in Rio. These beautiful murals. I mean, check this one out, for example. So stylized, so impressive, so beautiful, and all individual panels of fantastic artwork. Okay, we didn't get to see the Modern Art Museum, but you know what? For my creative fix, for my artistic fix, this is doing the job really, really well. As we walk down to the next stop on this Rio adventure. So culture in Rio isn't all about Ferris wheels, modern art museums, science museums, futuristic and modern things. It's all about the history and about the past. And although there is very much a concerted effort from the government here that you feel for Rio to be forward facing and looking to the future, it's also critically important to remember the past and to remember the history. And in this particular instance, the history of enslaved peoples from Africa who make up so much of the culture of Rio, so much of the culture of Brazil. Now behind me is the Valongo Wharf, or what's left of it, and you can see now it's essentially pretty much just ruins, but still I think a site that is certainly worth visiting for the historical context. Now this place was built in 1811. That stage, slavery was very much still the norm, very much still legal here, all the way until 1888, when slavery was made illegal here in Brazil. And this is the wharf where those enslaved people from Africa were brought. This was the main depot, if you like, main port for it, all the way up until 1888, when slavery was made illegal. Now the wharf continued use all the way until 1911, although for different things, and at which point it was buried. And it was left unexcavated until 1911, when they started to excavate the site. And then over the last few years they put up these guardrails and made sure that we remember the important history of the enslaved people here in Rio, in Brazil, in Valongo docks. Behind the Valongo Wharf, and in fact behind me right now, is another building on this story of transition here in Brazil. So this is a dock building, a warehouse that was built later in the 1800s, at a stage where slavery was still legal. I can't remember the name of this place, but I will pop it on the screen or pop it in the description, as it is important. And the architect who built this, why he was interesting, was he was a black man. He was descendants of those who had essentially been trafficked over here. And he insisted when building this particular building that he only used free men, free slaves, free Africans who had been brought over here as slaves or descendants of those of slavery. Not the prettiest thing to remember, but I think really important, really critically important. And you can kind of see this history in the faces of the people when you walk around here. Weirdly, Rio, the population is so diverse, from white faces to brown faces to black faces, all, well, to what looks like me as a gringo, as an outsider, all to me looks fully integrated. And it's really interesting. I've never really seen that racial diversity be yet so homogenous in a city. So maybe there's a good outcome of all that misery, but the misery itself not to be overlooked. Anyway, we've done the museums, or we tried to do the museums, done some of them. We've done the Ferris wheel. We've looked at some of the history here in Brazil. Now I think it's time to grab a little refreshment and end this video on what you can do in a slightly cloudy day in Rio de Janeiro. If you are out on a cultural adventure in downtown Rio de Janeiro and you find yourself in want of a refreshment, you can do a lot worse than coming to the Arco Do Teles. And that's exactly where we've come now. This little arch leads down onto a building site by the sounds of it. Not only is this a beautiful example of old Rio streets, and as you've seen in my Walking Rio video, in fact this house here was inhabited by the very famous Carmen Miranda. But also it is a great place to stop and get a refreshment. That's what we'll be doing partway through this video. Now, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you've been seeing, if you're enjoying these videos, please do chuck me a little like, drop me a little comment, let me know what else I should be doing. But also, if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, and a lot of you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do just subscribe. It's the little button just down there. Just make sure you get a notification whenever I drop new content on MegaTrip. Anyway, we've come down the Arco Do Teles to get ourselves a little bit of food and drink. Check this out. Absolutely stunning old streets, full of restaurants, places to eat, drink, traditional food. All in a very Rio de Janeiro environment. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. I get myself a little refreshment before continuing this journey around Rio de Janeiro on this slightly moody day. Okay, so this is what you get in a proper locals restaurant in downtown Rio. This cost me a grand total food of about 25 Brazilian reais. So what's that? That's probably about £4, maybe $5, €5, something like that. And you get a lovely fries and salad, some paduja, some manioc, salsa, and a nice little plate of sausage and onions, along with my nice bottle of original. If you haven't tried sausage in Brazil, oh my god, absolutely. I'm sure it's a heart attack in a dish, but I'm here, I'm walking around today, it's absolutely worth it. Anyway, I'm going to tuck in and enjoy my meal, and we'll catch up afterwards what we're doing next on this episode. So for now, from me, Saludo, I'm going to tuck in. Wow, that was absolutely delicious. A plate of sausages with fried onions, faduja, rice, a real nice hearty meal, all along with a large bottle of Original. And all of that cost me the princely sum of 50 Brazilian reais. So what's that? That's about £7 GBP, maybe $9, €8, something like that. Absolute bargain, lovely atmosphere, great food. So if you're knocking around Rio de Janeiro, looking for something to eat, why not head down here? And I'm reliably informed a little later in the day, perhaps kind of after work time, 4, 5, 6 p.m, they also bust out some live music, so highly recommended. Anyway, one more stop on today's adventure, I think, so I'm going to head on now. I'm going to go and try and find a bit of a local market and have a look at that. Let's go. Okay, so for our next stop today, we have come to a market that I found on the map. I haven't been here before, but I figured we'd take a little look around. Outside, you can see it's very popular, all the bikes parked up so close to each other. It's almost like you're in Southeast Asia. But anyway, we are at the Mercado Popular Uruguaiana. Absolutely no idea what they sell in this place, but let's go have a little look inside and see what they got. Hola, bon dia. So, super glue, pencil cases, clothing, a little bit of everything by the looks of it. Get yourself a Stanley coffee cup. I'm sure they are 100% genuine first copies. Anyway, let's keep mooching A real variety here by the looks of it, from your kind of touristy stuff to electronics to household goods. Over here you've got your phone store, get your covers, your cases, and of course some gold. What have they got here? Hattie and Danny, some Israeli stars. I think it's a bit more my speed. Cheeky little bulldog. Very interesting. This isn't exactly what I expected to find down here, but I think it's worth the visit. Lots of bags, coats with the Brazilian flag. Interesting little fact about the Brazilian flag. If you look at it, there is a bunch of stars on the Brazilian flag, all representing the individual states, and then the line through the middle with the motto of Brazil, if you like, on there. And then there's only one star that's above that line and the rest are below. And a lot of people like to think, well, that's the state of Rio De Janeiro, it's like an ego thing, but it's not at all. That's actually representing the state of Para. And the reason is that line is actually the equator, and it's the only state in Brazil which is above the equator. So there you go, a little bit of Rio or Brazilian facts for you. Let's keep looking around this market. Lots of various bits and bobs. You get your man bags, really useful for carrying your camera around. I've got far too many of those already. Interesting. I thought in a market like this I might get a little bit hassled, as you quite often do in these markets, but again, it's one of the reasons why I love Rio as a city. The city doesn't care about you. No one's shouting at me, no one's trying to pull me in. Not yet anyway. But we'll keep on mooching around, past the metro, Uruguaiana, here in Centro. The metro system here is actually really, really good, really cheap. You can use Wavy Pay, tap in, tap out on your credit card, so you haven't got to worry about buying tickets. Used it a bit the other day. That said, Ubers here are mega affordable. Wow, just keeps on going. Clothing for days. And of course, people out with their stalls and their stands, getting around. There are loads of markets like this in Rio. It's actually the biggest one that I've seen so far. But you also see almost every street corner, every area where people might populate, lots of stands, lots of stalls which are portable. Corn on the cob, they sell an awful lot of. But also water, cola, really whatever you need. Frankly, if you ask one of the street vendors here for anything, if they don't have it, they'll go and find it for you. So you do get stuck, just talk to them. They'll hook you up. Look, they'll charge you a little bit extra, but they are all about being friendly and making a sale. Definitely the places you want to get your swimwear. Don't know what the prices are like down here, but I'll bet you they're not bad. Right, let's keep wandering. What do we have here? Watches. All very nice. Not what I'm in the market for. The problem is I'm at the end of a 6-week trip, and I've done my 6-week trip travelling just on hand baggage because, you know, my life's too short for anything else. And that means I don't really have much space in my suitcase. But the one thing I probably do need, actually, is a vest. Check these out. These are quite cool. Hola, bon dia. Let's see if they have a grande. These all look quite small, medium. Let's have a look at this guy here. Is that going to fit my frame in it? Probably will. 130. That is about 20 quid. 60? Okay. Okay. So this guy's basically telling me, ignore the prices, they're half of what they are on the label. Now I don't know why that is, whether they've been purloined somewhere. But hey, I'll take the bargain. Right, Gonna have a little look through and see what else there is. All right, get this guy here. Nice little vest. My comfort. Por favor. Obrigado. Pretty cool. See. Obrigado, bom dia. All right. So that's me. Got my little purchase here in the market. Do you know what? 60 Raya. Don't know what that is. £7-8, something like that. For a nice little vest. The one thing I did actually need. I'm gonna wear that on my journey home for a little bit of extra comfort, I think. Just take one little last look through here. Now you can see in here a nice inside section as well, where you can get literally whatever you need, from knives to stun guns. That'll keep it interesting for a little bit of home security. And also your head shop if you need papers, or you like smoking your tobacco through a water pipe. Who knows? Some people do. Interesting fact, actually. I think the day I arrived in Rio was the day after they decriminalised marijuana here. Completely unrelated. Anyway, I think that is it for me in this market. That's it for my little cultural adventure. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of an idea. If you get stymied by the weather and you want to do some slightly different, slightly cool stuff, there's plenty to do here in Rio de Janeiro. So last little word from me. Please, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. It's the little bell icon down there. Switch your notifications on. It just means that whenever I drop new content, every single Saturday, that's my promise to you, plus a few bonus episodes, it just means you'll get a little alert. You don't need to leave your credit card details or anything like that. But thank you for doing that. If you like the video, give me a little like, give me a little thumbs up. If you've got any thoughts, feelings, comments, please do drop me a little comment. Join me next time here on MegaTrip.